What's up, Knucklehead? I am Lupine Fiasco, and this is your daily FaB gameplay. For anyone who's new to the channel, welcome to the jungle. What we do here is review replays of games that I played on the Talishar client days or weeks ago after enough time has passed that I lose my bias and can more objectively judge the quality of my play. I'll talk through turn cycles and give my thoughts on the line I would take now compared to the line I took then at the time of recording. We either learn from my mistakes or reinforce good play patterns with the overall goal of tightening and optimizing our gameplay in the future to take down paper events like the upcoming US Nationals and, most importantly, walk away with that shiny cardboard. If you would like to check out the deck I'm playing here or try it for yourself on Talishar, there is a FaB deck link available in the video description below. While you're down there, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. A YouTube subscription is the best free way to support me and to make sure that you see daily FaB gameplay in your video feed 5 days a week. The best paid way to support me is through Patreon, and a Patreon link is also in the video description. A Patreon subscription will get you access to the DFG Discord and the shiny cardboard Talishar card back. At higher tiers, your name will appear in every DFG video. You'll get bonus DFG content every week, and there are even more benefits to come. Daily FaB gameplay will always be free 5 days a week, so for those who can afford to patronize me, I truly appreciate it. Now, let's talk about our sideboard and about our game plan. I've really been dragging my feet on putting this game up because it is painful. How close I came to winning, I just couldn't pull it off. Kassai is a really tough matchup for Kayo, and I think it is worse than Hatchet's Dory, despite having worse numbers. The reason being that Kassai is actually building to something. Hatchet's Dory sends really good damage, really consistent damage across every turn, but if you can figure out how to block it and how to properly set up strong Blood Rush and Cast Bones turns, then it is easy enough to outvalue Dory and put her on the back foot, especially if the Dory list is not running a lot of defense reactions or if the D-reacts don't line up well with what you're trying to do. Kassai, on the other hand, is building towards an endgame. Kassai has the same general output that Dory has, though without the third hatchet swing, but Dory is playing hit and runs, blade runners, take it on the chin, run through, ways to get the first sword go again to come in with the second sword. But on top of that, she makes gold and can actually use the copper she generates from Spoils of War. So we have to block Kassai because we have to prevent her from generating this currency that she can either turn into a late game Blood on her hands or a late game Raise the Army. And that can be very difficult for Kayo to do because at some point we do want to flip the switch and we do want to send some damage. But more than that, we have hands that don't block. And if those non-blocks line up with Kassai's hero ability or Spoils of War, we can be in some trouble. As far as our sideboard goes, we are going to board out Swing Big and Send Packing. Kassai just blocks so well. Warrior in general blocks very well, but Kassai actually uses the Quicken that Swing Big gives her and can compensate for the rare draw she has that does not give Go Again. Send Packing, on the other hand, is a 3-for-6 that does not fit into our cost curve very well and is very easily blocked. And if we aren't threatening Kassai with the on-hit and forcing her to do something she doesn't already want to do, which is block, then Send Packing is a really subpar card. Humble can potentially be very strong, but again, Kassai likely just doesn't use her hero power if she gets humbled. She just does something else with her turn and uses her hero power on the next turn. Kassai's game plan is going to be sending efficient damage while setting up for a late game Blood on her hands or Raise an Army. Our game plan is to set up strong Blood Rush turns with Cast Bones or Massacre, or even Pack Hunt, and try to push damage over the top of Kassai's blocks. This is going to be a really close game. We do end up losing, but let's see where we can find opportunities to get just a little more value out of our turns. Having lost the die roll, we are going first. That's fine. I'm fine going first in this matchup. In fact, I prefer it. Warrior has enough ways to get value out of their first turn, be it Goblet of Blood Red Wine, Grains of Blood Spill, or even just pushing damage over the top of us not having cards that block. I think going first is great. So this hand, unfortunately, is not really the business, but it'll be fine enough. We are just going to discard our yellow windup and arsenal a runner, and look to send some decent damage on our next turn. We're not attacking with Mandible Claw or even Agile Windup because we don't want to give Kassai the chance to filter. Here, thinking about whether we want to block this sword or not, we do have a pretty good turn lined up. If we just run a runner from Arsenal, play Cast Bones. What that means is I'm not looking to block this saber. I can block the next attack, whatever the follow-up to this is. And with Wrecker Romp, on my turn, I want to play Run a Runner from Arsenal, then play Cast Bones, and Arsenal CNC. Yes, we do give Hot Streak Go again, but I don't think Kassai can actually use the action point. So Runner attacks for 7 with Go again. We refresh our agility, which may not even be necessary if Cast Bones hits, but always good to have in case we reveal another Cast Bones or a Blood Rush Bellow. We do, however, reveal 6 attacks. So the second agility is pretty moot here. We have a Bear Fangs and a Wild Ride on top of our deck, so a bit of unfortunate variance. We would have liked to have one of those in our hand here so that we could potentially work a Mandible Claw into this turn as well. As it is, we kind of can't do it. Although we could if we don't block anything. We can pitch a blue to play Command and Conquer from Arsenal. We can pitch a second blue to attack with Mandible Claw, then we discard Agile Windup to give the Claw Go again, and finally attack with Clash of Agility. That's probably what I want to do with this turn. The question is, are we blocking Centauri Saber at all? The answer very likely is no. We will just let Kassai do damage here and have a very strong turn on our end. I am just seeing the Command & Conquer Claw Clash line for the first time. It's entirely possible that I didn't see it at the time this game was played. So do we want to take another 5 damage this turn? I think the answer is yes. 6 even, go down to 30, and then crack back with 21 damage. 21 damage with Disruption. I understand blocking here. We are still pushing 18 damage, but we aren't setting up agility for our next turn, and we aren't getting might either. So this line is worth 24 points of value. We're attacking for 18, and we got 6 points of defensive value, while the line I wanted us to take would have only been 21. We would have gotten a might and an agility out of it. We would also still have our Spring Tunic, and I think that would have made up for taking that 6 points of damage. Kassai fully blocks out which is sort of tragic for us that all of that work was more or less for nothing. We are going to play a wild ride here, hope to draw, discard the Beast Within, which isn't meant to be. We can decide if we want to follow this up with Mandible Claw or a Bare Fangs. Considering that Kassai is only keeping 2 cards in hand, I think that Mandible Claw is better than Bare Fangs. And that I would have liked to just arsenal the Bare Fangs, because I think Kassai either keeps these 2 cards and just sends normal damage, or would have blocked with the 2 cards, and now we only have a 4-card hand. We are going to want to block this Nourishing Emptiness. What it means is that our turn is kind of bad. So we can block with Assault and Battery and 2 of our 2 blocks to cover the 6 with Dominate. The question is, what are we doing with our turn? It is probably going to be pitch Bloodrush Bellow to attack with Mandible Claw, then arsenal another Bloodrush Bellow. It isn't insane, but the 4-card Bloodrush is pretty bad. Double Bloodrush is not something we would want to risk, and I don't want Kassai to get 5 cards here. Blocking with Smash Instinct instead is fine, it doesn't really matter. We're taking an intellect penalty by keeping this blue in our hand, but at the very least, we are making sure that we can still play this Blood Rush, that we aren't going to draw into a 4-red hand. Drawing into third Blood Rush here even. Sort of unfortunate timing. We can decide if we even want to Blood Rush this turn. We could potentially look to block 6 with Assault and Battery and Runner on our turn. Then pitch Blood Rush to play Command and Conquer. The real problem with that is we would be stacking 2 Blood Rushes next to each other, which could maybe win the game, but I would rather play my Blood Rushes a little earlier. We could try to block the Hot Streak. We could block with Card from Hand and Scowling Fleshbag, and then block the Centauri Saber with another card. And that would let us play our CNC for 6. Kassai still has a lot of armor, and she is going to have Valiant Dynamo, so I don't necessarily love that line. I think we are just going to take 5 here, let Kassai make her gold, but she does not currently have Go Again, and she doesn't have, as far as I know, a line that lets her get Go Again and also attack with Centauri Saber. I don't believe most Kassais are running Let the Quicksilver, and that all of her reaction speed Go Again wants 1 resource to pay for it. The hand we draw into is not great. We could fire off second Blood Rush and just try to fix this, but I think it is better if we just have a subpar Blood Rush and save our second Blood Rush for the next turn. Potentially try to light it up with Tunic and some Go Again. Attacking with Runner here is fine. We are going to get our intellect penalty, but again, we are keeping a blue to pay for the next Blood Rush. I think that we would have drawn into 2 pieces of Go Again based on our second Blood Rush does feel a little bad. Of course, one of those being Cast Bones means that we would have been in a really bad spot. Here we have Kassai's Hero Power. Our hand does not block very well, but Kassai has put herself in a position where we can flashback this Saber. So again, Kassai does not have the resources available to give this Saber Go Again and also pay for Hot Streak. If we leave Kassai with Hit and Run, not Hit and Run, Blade Runner, she can't pay for it. If we leave her with Quicksilver, she can't pay for the Hot Streak attack. So this is us just using Fleshbag. We block Kassai's hero power, while also preventing a follow-up. So she is taking an intellect penalty here. We need to decide what we want to do with this hand. If we play our Blood Rush from Arsenal, we do have Go again to put a good string of attacks together, but we are potentially discarding our blue if we pay with Cast Bones. We could play a Wild Ride and Overpitch with Cast Bones and Smash Instinct, and that lets us use our either play the Pulping or the 2 for 6 that we draw, or if we draw a 3-cost attack, we use our Tunic to pay for it. But I think firing off Blood Rush here is fine, and we just pitch our Cast Bones and try to get a little lucky. We do discard our blue, unfortunately. We don't draw into another one, but we do draw at least into a yellow that is going to pay for this Wild Ride, and do draw into the blue here. So we do get to go 3 chain links wide, and that last chain link is going to be a pack hunt. So if Kassai is thinking about saving her last card for blocking, then she is out of luck based on Intimidate. Using Tunic to push 8 with Pack Hunt puts us into a very commanding position on life total. We are 14 points up on Kassai. That said, she does have 2 gold tokens and a copper. So again, building to that late game strategy. Here, looking at Centauri Saber with Go again. Kassai can follow up with a Hot Streak, and we can't necessarily block this. We can look for Agility by blocking with Clash. Very likely we would use that for E-Strike draw card, hoping to then follow with Bare Fangs. We could also just not block and go for E-Strike for 6 Go again, then Bare Fangs. So the 14 damage line here doesn't sound all that bad, and I think it's what I'm leaning towards, as opposed to blocking with Clash. Kassai is not threatening any on-hits here. She isn't making gold if this hits. The only on-hit she does get is Grains. And if we didn't block the Saber, we're not going to block the Hot Streak. Taking the 14 damage line with E-Strike Bare Fangs. We are just counting Kassai's defense reactions. Kayo is a hit. We have Bare Fangs coming for 8. Getting some cards out of Kassai's hand, getting that Raisin Army, which we should be paying more attention to. Here we have Kassai activating the ability and breaking gold to discount her sword attacks. We're expecting that the card in Kassai's arsenal is going to give this Saber Go again. I would like to block this with Clash of Agility and try to get that Agility ready for Runner. We show a Pulping on top of the deck, and we do see that Blade Runner from Kassai's arsenal. So Hot Streak here going to be coming in for 5. Notably, Kassai is not spending her floating resource on Braveforge Bracers. So we could decide what we want to do with this information. We could block the Hot Streak and generate another Might. We could block the Hot Streak with Clash, Bonebreaker, and Scab Skins, then throw our Runner for 9 and refresh our Agility. That may be what I want to do. The thing to remember with the armor is Kassai still has Nourishing Emptiness, which is what I believe I am playing around here. We've only seen the one, and with it being in banish, she still had the two that she has left are both on. So we could block out the hot streak, prevent Kassai from making a gold, or we can save our 3 pieces of equipment to block out the nourishing by giving up our tunic as well. Now, with so much game left, we are at 27, Kassai's at 13, but she can block well enough to stay in this game. It might be worth it to prevent her gold generation here and just not anticipate blocking the nourishing. I'm not sure what the correct line is. I do like blocking with Clash here, regardless of whether Kassai makes her gold or not. We are going to make a might based on this Clash. But it may just be correct to prevent Kassai from making her gold, prevent her from feeding into her Raisin army, and just throw a 9 damage runner. I had told you at the start of this video I was a little dragging my feet on this game. Part of it is I think I am letting Kassai make too much gold because I had not seen Raisin army yet. I had not experienced the card from Kassai. And I think if I had experienced Raisin army, I would be a little more hesitant about letting Kassai just make gold. We aren't going to block here. We are looking to, with this hand, very likely pack hunt pulping. Just based on trying to end the game. Pack hunt for 6 go again, take a card out of Kassai's hand, then attempt to pulping for the victory. Still not looking to block. Potentially we should have. This may have been an opportunity to put a pack hunt and bone breaker in front of this hot streak to prevent Kassai from making the gold, because what Kassai gets to do is raise an army. The cell swords are going to come in for 3 apiece. We aren't going to block them. Unlike other heroes with allies in this meta, we cannot pop the cell swords. They do not have Phantasm. And with Kassai floating 2 resources, we're expecting Nourishing Emptiness at the end of this turn. Really, really strong turn from Kassai. Just extremely powerful. We will block this with Pack Hunt and our equipment. This is what we kept the equipment for, though we can see it probably would have been better to have stopped Kassai from making gold on our last turn. Yes, we would take the nourishing damage here, but we would have 3 more life to give based on not having been hit with this cell sword. We do unfortunately discard our Wild Ride. Here, the follow-up should be to kill a cell sword, and this is my inexperience with Raisin Army. I had not played against it yet. Kassai had not resolved it against me, but we need to get these cell swords off the field, because Kassai is now in a position where she can get free damage out of these cell swords based on a line like Centauri Saber, Go Again, Cell Sword, or make an agility, saber, cell sword. The cell swords are better than a hot streak. This hot streak for 2 does not have Go Again. It does make a gold on hit. I should be checking Kassai's discard and banish to see how many Raisin armies are in here. Do I need to respect Kassai making gold? Because what I could do with this hand is E-Strike for 6 Go Again, Cast Bones. The line I can take is blocking this Saber with Cast Bones to prevent the on-hit and not give it Go Again. But I think I would just be better off playing Cast Bones. We take 2 here. It doesn't have Go Again. Kassai cannot afford to play Blade Runner and attack with a saber, because this hot streak doesn't have Go Again. She can't attack with a cell sword. So we could have a very strong turn with E-Strike, Go Again, discard Wind Up, play Cast Bones, or E-Strike, Go Again, play Cast Bones, Arsenal, Pack Hunt. And I think a pack hunt in Arsenal with potential go again is really strong, or even just pack hunt for 11 is really strong. So I would like to not block this hot streak. What I'm looking for is how much go again I have in my discard, because I'm thinking about whether I want to E-Strike for 8 Arsenal pack hunt or E-Strike for 8 discard Mighty Windup. But I think this here is where I lost this game. I should not have blocked with the cast bones. Potentially that's wrong. Potentially blocking with the cast bones is fine because Kassai doesn't get the gold, and maybe if she has the gold, then she can afford to sword, Blade Runner, sell sword, sword. In any case, we do Arsenal the pack hunt, which I believe is correct. We don't draw into the go again, which is unfortunate, but we can at least protect this pack hunt by blocking with Massacre Wrecker Romp. On our turn, we can play pack hunt from Arsenal and Arsenal Massacre instead, Massacre being a better finisher. Unfortunately, Kassai is in a position now where she can just play defense for a while. We need to set up a big turn, so we are hoping to find our Blood Rush Bellow that we had pitched previously. That is going to let us close the game out with Massacre. We find ourselves in a position where we just can't block very well. We could block this with a Beast Within, then block the Centauri Saber with a Smash Instinct, the problem being that we then can't pay for anything on our turn. So we are going to take this 2 damage and let Kassai make a gold. But we are in a position where Kassai still has defense reactions in the deck. So we are not guaranteed to win with this pulping. If we could pulping Kassai, we probably win the game. We Petra Blue, we can work a Claw and then Massacre into this turn, but Kassai still has 2 Sync Blows in deck. So what we're going to do instead is look to get a little lucky with our Beast Within discard. We're going to pulping a Sellsword, and the reason being that Kassai cannot block for allies. So we don't get lucky enough, but we can at least Claw Massacre. And I think that's the line I want to take here, as opposed to clawing a Sellsword. I want to claw Kassai. She's going to take this on the chin, which is great news for her, getting the agility. This Massacre very likely to only come in for 2 after blocks. Notably, I don't play Reckless Swing, so we don't have an out here. We just need to try to find a way to kill Kassai. The hand that we draw into is going to be fine enough for blocking. Kassai with the agility is going to very likely be able to Saber, Sellsword Saber. We can take this too. We can block the Saber, the Sellsword, and still look to E-Strike for 8, discard Windup. Very bold non-blocking here. I think we should have blocked at some point. Instead we go to 2, so intending to Mandible Claw, Kassai, discard Windup? That doesn't even work. Looking to set up an arsenal? Okay, no, we can't afford this. Alright, so Mandible Claw, discard Windup, E-Strike is pushing 11 damage on Kassai. Unfortunately, because she has Dynamo, she can survive this. Especially if she has a defense reaction. Either way, we could, she could block this for 6, go down to 1, and then still have cards available to, have 1 card available to Sword. But she does have the Sync Below, so she is going to stay alive at 2. And spoiler alert, the card in her arsenal is Nourishing Emptiness. So we would have been able to get there with the pulping. I think it's reasonable that we didn't know that. We do not have a way to survive this turn, so we are just going to throw the good game. Blocking with the cast bones there, I think, was the mistake that cost us this game. I think we would have won if we just took that damage like Kassai make a gold. I was probably playing scared around a second Raisin army, or at least Kassai being able to draw a card. I can't speak to whether or not she would have gotten there. Had we let her make the gold, it's possible she could have put a big turn together with that and discounting her swords, but she managed to get there either way. Really tough matchup. This is the first time I had played against Raisin Army. I think I should have been a little more defensive earlier. There was at least that one instant where I let Kassai make gold that I could have chosen not to by giving her armor. She would have gotten in a hit with the Nourishing Emptiness. But it's also possible that she can't convert a 5-card hand very well, and being less effective with Raisin Army could potentially put us in a better position. I think the Mandible Claw that went at Kassai instead of at a Sellsword was a mistake, and I do need to be killing those mercenaries as fast as I can. This is the power of Kassai. She can play mid-range until she gets a spike turn with Raisin Army or Blood on her hands. It's very hard to deal with, as opposed to Dorinthia, who's consistent throughout the game but doesn't spike like that. So I hope you enjoyed this game. I hope you learned something. If so, be sure to assault and batter that like button. My comments are always open for any questions or feedback. Again, if you haven't already done so, please consider a YouTube subscription. It's free, it helps me out. No matter what you do, catch me back here next week for more daily FaB gameplay. And until then, take care.